Thank you so much. Gosh, there's so much I want to say, and one of the greatest challenges of being a speaker, or what I call a teacher, is I never have enough time. And so as Patty was talking, I was just brainstorming and remembering so many moments in my life and thinking of all of you and how much I could help you if I only had more time. So what I have to do is condense, and I'm going to do my best to give you what I feel you most need. And I know you all have businesses, and if you have a business, that means you have a dream. Most women are in business because something touched them. There was something they were passionate about, something that they just couldn't get off their minds, and they took big risks, left cushy jobs, right? And ventured off on their own. And in most cases, people told you were crazy, you weren't going to succeed, your spouses might not have supported you because now the family income's going down because usually you don't start a business making money, right? So when my husband and I started our business, it's my business, not his, let me just say that. He has nothing to do with it really other than support me. We had this motto, and I was the high-risk stock and he was the solid, steady stock. Of course, at the time, neither stock was performing anything because he was a struggling airline pilot and I was launching a business. But the cool thing is when we look back, he provided, say, the health insurance and a little bit of stable income. And then mine, I just dug down and started building my businesses. And the cool thing is we reflect back and we say, wow, that risk, that stock, it paid off. We didn't know. You never know what's going to happen in business. I mean, along the way, though, like my car was repossessed. I had lost everything. I had to start over. I mean, there was bad things along the way as well. So if any of you are going through those things, please know that's normal. There's a price to pay for success. And anytime I see somebody who's just madly successful, I never think, oh, they must be lucky. I know they've worked for it because anybody who has anything in most cases has worked their butt off for it. And we have to support one another. So, Patty, by the way, music is my total saving grace. Like, I have Pandora on 24/7. It keeps me going. I dance in my underwear. I mean, believe me, you have to dance. You have to take the pressure off and have fun, right? And I was thinking about a story when you were speaking about your mission. And I have a national consulting firm that specializes in healthcare. And I've had it for about 20 years. I love it. It's very successful. And I've had this little burning thing ticking inside of me that was driving me crazy. And it's that when my daughter was in my belly, I started writing this book. And I would write it, then I'd put it away, then I'd write it and I'd put it away over 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. I've written this book in Paris, in Germany, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Florida Keys. And my husband would be like, what are you working on? And I wouldn't tell him. I'd just say, don't worry about it. So about 11 years later, I'm talking to my life coach because I said, I'm going crazy. And she said, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, this thing is haunting me, and I want to just let it go. I don't want to write a book. I've written 2 business books, but I'm like, I don't want to write another book. I don't want to go out on the road and start speaking again. I've done all that, and I don't know what to do. I just want to kind of stay in my little comfort bubble over here. And she said, okay. And I remember I was in the Publix parking lot. I'm from Florida. We have Publix. And she said, I just have a question for you. And I said, sure. And I was feeling so good. Okay, she's giving me permission to let it go. And she said, are you prepared to miss your destiny? And I was like, I started crying my eyes out, and I said, no, I'm not. But then I said, thank you, and I never looked back. I wrapped up Get Your Girl Back. I got an agent and actually just sent her that proposal last week and said, okay, I'm putting it into the universe. Whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. It will happen, mark my words. But the thing is, we can't fight our destinies, right? And some of us allow that pressure to paralyze us, and we start to go mental a little bit. And that mental pressure and stress can break you. So one of the things I've learned in Get Your Girl Back, and number one was Get Your Girl Back almost cost me my girl. That's one of the things I realized. So I had to even scale that back and realize it does me no good to help other women get their girl if I lose mine. And that was because I'm running Building Company and building a new movement, and it's a lot of pressure. And then I said, forget it. I'm just going to keep my girl front and center. Started playing every day of my life. I mean, it's every day I'll get on a trampoline, I'll hula hoop. I'm doing kickboxing for fun instead of going to the gym. Anything I can do that's fun rather than work, I do. I try to make daily, ordinary things fun. And I really want to encourage you, as I go through this presentation, to think about making your life more fun. Now, the goal is, can I see this screen? Don't worry. Thank God I only have 5 slides or so. And I want to go back because the goal of this Get Your Girl Back, I want you to see this logo. This is about a journey of transformation. And I want you to have a metamorphosis in your business and in your life. And to do that, it's all about what's going on in your head. If there's one thing I know is that you are what you think you are. Where you are today is a direct correlation to the thoughts you have. If you don't like where you are, change your thoughts. And I know that sounds really simple, but that is the truth. And everything I've ever done in my life, including the scariest things I've ever done, I had to get real laser focused on my thoughts. Keep the focus on what it is you want, because naturally, all you're going to think about is what you don't want, can't have, can't do, don't understand, poor me, oh my gosh. It doesn't help anybody. It actually steals your joy, steals your girl, steals your business, steals your family, steals your health, steals your life. You have to decide today how you're going to live your life up here. This, in my opinion, is the #1 asset we all have in this room. And we are everyone in here is equal, right? We all have a brain. We all have 24 hours in a day. It's how are we going to think and what are we going to do with the time we have. So you have to decide. I decided long ago that I wanted to not just have a successful business, I wanted to have a great life. I had a shitty childhood, okay? How many of you had a shitty childhood, right? And I don't lament on it, it's just a fact. And I had a wonderful mom, though. And I'm standing here today because I had an amazing mom. The problem is, she had a plan, and that whole plan fell apart. She was married, she had 3 kids, she was gonna be a homemaker, and all of a sudden there was a divorce and no money, and then her family fell apart, and some of you have lived this yourself. And what my mom always said is, don't be like me, go out and live your dreams. Do whatever you want. She told me that every day of my life, and honestly, I believed her. I never even thought I couldn't do what I wanted. And that's why it's so important you're telling your children this, because they will believe you. You're their mother, okay? And we don't lie to them. I believe my mother. And as I got more successful and I started to, unleash all my dreams, I got pregnant, like a lot of you. I was working 60 hours a week. I was traveling all over the country speaking, and it was a one-man show. I did everything. And if you're a professional speaker, they'll tell you no one else can do what you do. You have to show up. The client wants you, And I was like, well, that's not going to work for me because I'm pregnant, and I have to figure out a better plan. When my daughter Paris was born, I shut down my office on Main Street, helped my staff find new jobs, moved my business back home. My mom worked for me at the time. I would work Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. She would have my kids, and then she would work on the days I didn't work, and I would have my kids, and I never looked back. And that's how I ran my business for 11 years. My daughter turns 11 this summer, and I've never gotten away from it till this year. Forget Your Girl Back, started to suck my free time. And I started to lose my girl. Instead of working my normal 3 days a week, I started working 5 days a week, and I became a mental mess. Seriously. So a couple months ago, I stopped. And I have a lot, Get Your Girl Back on Facebook, the movement. I was doing tons of stuff, built the movement, people are following it. Just totally stepped back. It's on there, it's awesome, people like it, they engage, but I'm not doing as much as I was. I'm not like killing to find the celebrity forward for the book like I was. I just kind of stepped back and realized that some things, if they're gonna be great, they're gonna be great. You can only plow so much of yourself into it. You gotta do the right things, keep your focus on the priorities, and let the universe take care of the rest. So prioritize. For me, I had to step back and say my family is number one first. My #1 goal is to stay married to my husband, because I never had, a family. I want my family unit together. And I realized that if I was working 60 hours a week, had a business, had now 2 kids, there's no way that's gonna last, because we'll hate each other. So I prioritized my life, and then what I realized, if I built my goals around those priorities, I truly trusted that everything would work out. Call it blind faith. I was like, if I just do what's right, it's all gonna work out. And what I found amazing is it does work out. You actually get leaner, meaner, smarter, you implement more strategies, you invest in yourself, you read more books, you hire more coaches because you realize, I don't have 40 to 60 hours anymore. For me, it was 24. So how am I gonna build this business in 24 hours? When I was usually working 60, and I had a staff of 6, and now it's me and my mom. How am I gonna do that? The cool thing is, we went from about 500,000 in revenues to over 3 million in revenues. And we landed on the Inc. fastest growing list, and my staff went to 20, and we were more profitable than ever. And it wasn't because I did anything like genius. What I did was prioritize, live by those priorities at all costs, and learn to delegate. So we're gonna talk about that. And gave up power and control and ego and thinking I was the only one who could do this job, all right? And so many of you need to do the same thing. So I want you to think about your priorities and what they are. There's many things that could be on your priority list. Maybe it's your family. Maybe you don't have kids yet, so you don't even have to deal with that yet. You might not even be married yet. It might be your business, your health, your faith, your finances. Here's the thing. You don't have to explain to any of us what your priority is, what order they're in, because it's your business. And as women, we need to support each other. And if you went to work in a typical job, right, like where you probably used to work in banking, and you said, well, my family comes first, people would laugh at you. They make you feel bad. The good thing is you are the CEO. You can say whatever you want. Everybody who works for me knows, don't call me. I'm not working. If you're going to call me on Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, and I don't feel guilty. On Monday, I'm not going to work like the rest of you. I'm off. Right? Because it's my choice. I'm the boss. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to have lunch with my kids. I'm going to clean my house. I'm going to, go to the grocery store because I need balance, and I can't do that all at 6 o'clock at night, right? And on weekends, I want to go boating, biking. I don't want to clean and cook and do laundry. So you really have to prioritize and not feel guilty over your choices. So the thing is, when you set your priorities, you have to own them. So when I decided my family's first, my business is second, it was hard. I'd have people come and say, oh, we want you to speak at this conference. My fee's pretty good, and it's hard to walk away from. And I'd say no, and it would kill me because I'd be like, I really want to. Or we would have something would be very demanding, and see, the good thing about my business, I can delegate a lot of the consulting work and things we do, but I really, in a lot of cases, couldn't always delegate the speaking. And I realized that it's okay, I can walk away from that. Because you can always make more money, but you can't get more time. And that was the biggest aha for me. More money is great, but what am I going to really do with it at the end of the day? And some of you aren't there yet, and I'll just speak. I remember my husband would say to me, you have to bring in $600 a month. If you can bring in $600 a month, we can pay all the bills. And I'd bring in $600 a month. And we were just as happy then as we are now. And that's the weirdest thing that we realize is we have everything we could ever dream of and more, and we've been all over the world, and we have those material items, but we realize that, you know what, it doesn't actually make a difference. It just makes you more comfortable. So if you're thinking that if I grow my business, money solves all problems, that is not true. What solves all problems is what's happening inside here and here. You have to, as Patty says, be mission-driven, and when you're mission-driven and you're doing the work that goes behind that, and you're doing what's right, and you're doing your best, you're going to get there. So I want to encourage you and make you realize, fight for what you're doing. Because what makes me happy today is knowing that I'm making a difference in people's lives. I'm helping the mom in Iowa who's feeling like she's having a nervous breakdown to get her girl back. And I'm helping a business in New York who is in healthcare to turn their business around. And I'm doing the best I can to balance that, and that's all we can do. So right now I want you to get a mental note, because you already know what it is, and if your gut's telling you one thing and you're thinking something else, trust your gut, as Patty said. Your gut never lies. Trust your gut. Then what you want to do is build those goals around those priorities. So if your priority is your family, and I'm going to flip this in a minute, then what you need to think about is the way I'm living my life right now reflective of that priority. So if you're working until, say, 6 o'clock, let's say you work until 5. Even 5, you get home at 6. and your kids are in the room and they're trying to start homework and you're trying to cook dinner and you're checking your messages and getting text and trying to figure out what time that event starts tomorrow and what clients where, and your kids are talking to you and you're yelling at them, what? Because they're interrupting you and you're multitasking and you're stressed out now because you forgot to send the fax in, and then your husband walks through the door and you don't even notice him because, God, he drives me crazy anyways. Go over there. And you just keep doing, you slap your food on the table, and while they're eating, you're cleaning up the dishes already, and you're kind of going like that. And then you're yelling at everybody, go get in the showers, and your husband, you're begging him, just could you please load the dishwasher? Could you help me out, please? Right? Anybody ever feel like that? Okay. And then you're mad, right? And you're stressed. You're like not having any fun, right? And you get everybody kind of tucked into bed, and you're thinking, okay, it's like 9 o'clock, and you look and you got to clean up the dishes, and you're still trying to squeeze in an email because like that might help you get ahead. And then your husband's like sitting down watching TV or on the computer, and you're really pissed now, right? And then it's like 10 o'clock, and you're mad, and you go to bed. You're not really mad, you're just not happy. And that's what I see in a lot of women. They wake up, and they're a freaking walking zombie. The whole routine starts over. They either coffee to wake up, and then just it's the wild chaos of breakfast. Where's the backpack? Where's the shoes? Your husband's already out the door. Lucky him. Is that a way to live your life? And that's how our society lives. And then the kids really might not have, you love them probably more than anything, but we haven't even made eye contact. We've not had any fun with them. We've been ordering them around like drill sergeants because we're stressed out, we're tired, we're trying to do it all. And we tell our friends, I'm so busy, and they're so busy, and we've gotten in this chaotic state of living. And I think it's because we're in this generation of women who are still trying to figure it all out. Our grandmothers didn't work. They just got to stay home and take care of the house and the kids and the family, which is a great job. They call it job of CEO of the household. That's 40, 50 hours, 60 hours, actually it's like 100 hours a week. And then now we have these other jobs on top of that. So on top of that, we're now working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And there's no time for anything for you. And so the only person who can change that is you. And that's what I realized through the Get Your Girl Back experience in my own life, is that I'm daggone tired of watching everybody have fun. Tired of watching my kids. I take my daughter to gymnastics. She's out there challenging herself, learning something new, having fun. I go to baseball with my son. He's having a blast. And I'm just sitting there 3-4 hours. Okay, right? Then you take them, to roller skate or something, and you're sitting there. We're always sitting around while they're having fun. I just told my kids, I'm sorry, call me selfish. I'm tired of watching you have fun. I'm going to start having fun too. And I did. They loved it. That's when literally, I'll never forget, my daughter was in the kitchen dancing. We had Michael Jackson on. She was boogieing down. And I just thought, oh my gosh. And I ripped my pants off and I started dancing in my underwear. She screamed her head off, ran out of the room. She was like, oh my gosh. I had a shirt on. But I mean, I felt so free. And then she came running back in, slid across the floor in her socks, and she was in her underwear too. And I was like, that's right, girlfriend, let's go. And we always have Friday night dance parties, but I would have never done it in my underwear because moms don't do that. They've seen a whole new mom come to their life. I mean, there's nothing I won't do now. We're doing dodgeball, and I mean, every day, I would watch them on the trampoline. Now I'm on there with them. I mean, I'm doing flips. I'm doing everything they're doing because I realize I have a little girl too who lives in me, and she's tired of being a grown-up, stressed-out woman. She wants to have fun. She wants to be adventurous, be spontaneous. She's tired of being a drill sergeant. And you know what? I made the decision, and I let that woman go, and the girl is here. And you got to do this in both your home life, your personal life, and in your business, because all that energy flows to your business, but it starts with really understanding what your priorities are. If your priority is just to build a $100 million company, and that's what's important, you're probably not going to get to have any fun right now because you're going to build that company. But if your goal is, okay, I want to build, a six-figure business, and I want to have quality and balance of life, and I want to be happy and have fun because life is short, okay, make that decision and prioritize. So if you know your priorities, then set your goals. So if a lot of people, when we're taught goal setting, we build them all around work because that's what we've been taught, like in our jobs. Before we started our business, you always have a sales goal. You have maybe a time management goal. And what I realized was that that's nice, but actually that's not what makes me happy. What makes me happy is my home life, my hobbies, my husband, my fun, my kids. I started setting priorities around the things that matter most in both personal and professional. I want to encourage you to do the same thing. So I have this goal, of doing X amount of dollars in business and going to, doing this in this division and that division. I also have a whole nother set of goals around being a mom, around being a wife. I want to have a fun, sexy, adventurous marriage. And then I define action steps. What's that take? Communication, laughter, date night. If I don't do those things, we're not going to have that kind of life. But if you do them, the cool thing is you will. So take your priorities and set a goal around each different priority. And then support each of those goals with 3 action steps that will help you to get there. And what this does is it takes big, impossible tasks and makes them small. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to do $250,000 in business, or you're thinking I want to do $50,000 in business, right, depending on where you are, then if you're thinking sales-wise, okay, so how am I going to get to 250,000 if you're at, say, 100 already? Or how am I going to just get to 50 if you're kind of like maybe around 10 right now? So you would define action steps. 1, somebody needs to sell. So I need to start selling X amount of hours a week. You need to be specific. So I'm going to sell 2 hours every day, no matter what, calling and seeing people. Computer, like no Facebook, no email, it's sell time. I'm going to go to, maybe the next step is I'm going to speak at 5 events next year to give exposure to my business. And then the next step may be I'm going to hire an assistant and start delegating everything I can. So you need very specific steps, because then when you start doing those things every day, I call it the legs that support the goals, then you start to realize, okay, this is actually moving forward. And there's going to be days where okay, I'm reading that, sell 2 hours a day, haven't been doing that. 5 speaking gigs, I have 1, I'm kind of behind. But what happens is your subconscious starts to take over. And if you keep reading those goals and following those actions every day, you're going to start attracting the resources, the tools, the ideas that you need. Okay, I need to get on the phone tomorrow, 2 hours. Okay, did it. All right, look at that, I got 3 appointments. So it's specific action steps that lead you to the arrival of the goal. Come on. Am I pointing at the wrong place? Does somebody have that? They could just hit the fast forward thing. Do I need to do something different? Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you. I might need the person sitting there just to help me out once in a while. There's only a few, so maybe one more time. Can you hit it one more time, the down arrow? Okay, so I can't see this real well, so let me peek out. What's that first one say? Oh, okay. I don't believe, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. Just forgive me and hear me out. I don't believe in having it all. Because the truth is, I don't even think anybody knows what it is. Do you know? Because what I've learned is I thought I wanted it all, and I never got it because I didn't know what it is, and so all I did was chase it, and I didn't know what it was. And when I had it, I didn't even know it. Can anybody relate to that? I remember I had this boat, this picture of a boat in my dream book from when I was like 22 years old. It was this Sea Ray Sundancer, 29, green and white and beautiful, and it was called Persistence. And 10 years later, I had that boat. And I remember it was sitting out back in my dock, and I realized, I don't even see that boat. It's sitting there. I don't even see it anymore. I take it for granted. This doesn't make me happy, right? I had, the beautiful home, the great family. I had everything to be thankful for, money in the bank, great business, but I wasn't even seeing it because I was still chasing it. What is it? I got to find it. Where are you? What is it? It's only this year I realized that is so stupid. I'm not living in the now because all I'm doing is chasing it. I don't even know what it is when I've got all of this around me. So now I keep roses in my house because I want to see the roses, not the thorns. And it's so easy just to find our flaws, but never savor the beauty of what we've already accomplished. And I want that visual reminder every day. And so one of the things I want to say to you is don't chase it all, just define your all. Because the truth is, my all is different than yours. For me, my mission is I want to work less and make more. I want to work a little bit, make a lot so I can travel the world, have an extraordinary quality of life. I want to build my next dream home. I want to do cool things that money provides and business provides. But really what I want for it all is I want to go out there and change the world for women. And It's not about money anymore. It's about making a difference. It's about passing legacy, helping women understand not to sell our souls to get it all, but to really make sure that as we achieve our dreams, we have balance, we have fun, we have spontaneity, we have adventure, so that when you get to the end of the day, you can say, that was fun. I didn't miss a thing. But if we're chasing it, we're never going to get there. You can be 90 years old sitting there thinking, what did I do with my life? I want you to see, smell, taste, and feel your success right now, because the fact that you're in this room means you're successful. You had the money to come here, or you had the gas to put in your car to come here. You actually have a business that you own that gives you freedom. You don't have a boss with his thumb on you telling you couldn't come here today because you need to be in the office. You have freedom. You have adventure. You need to release yourself from the prison of limitations and disempowerment and make yourself be the best damn boss you've ever had by letting you live your dream, right? We can be our worst enemy. We need to stop. If you don't know what your all is, you're never going to get it. So before you leave this conference, you need to decide what is your all. I have my 10 reasons why I work on my window at my office. I look at it every day. I have my 5-year vision mapped out where I know it's like a vision of where I'm going to be in 5 years with my family. We're going to be traveling. I'm going to be speaking all over the world. My clients are paying for it. I'm writing more books. I'm in India and China. I'm changing women's lives. And we had a woman from India with us on our webinars last week. I mean, that's what's cool, to think you can affect people you'll never see in your whole life. But then you get these little emails about how your voice impacted them. It's life-changing. Whatever you're doing, setting up that shared office space for women, oh my gosh, for a woman to get out of her house and they cuss and have a quiet place to work is so important. The other thing is, what's the second one say? Don't be a realist, be a dreamer. Oh yes, oh my gosh, don't be a realist, be a dreamer. If you do not follow my Facebook page yet, you have to. I'll tell you why. It's Get Your Girl Back Movement. There's a guy out there that has Get Your Girl Back, like your girlfriend. This is a little more important, Get Your Girl Back. I have the Facebook page though. But my daughter yesterday was Take Your Kids to Work Day. Did anybody do that? So I had been traveling the day before and I was like already thinking, how can I get my kids out of school? Because I have to leave again from New York and I'm going to freak out. I want to see them. And then my son was going to bed. He goes, it's Take Your Kid to Work Day tomorrow. I go, it is? He said, yeah. I'm like, oh, yeah, you guys can stay home with me. So they stayed home. And I know some of you don't want them to, but I did miss them a lot. And my daughter, so I got up, started teaching them. I'm like, what am I going to do? I kind of like write a little bit, then I do a PowerPoint, then I have just a strange work schedule. It's not like I have the same routine every day. And my daughter's like, so when are we going to work? I was like, okay. So I said, I want you to write me a blog for Get Your Girl Back. And I thought that she would go, oh, Mom, because she's 10, and a lot of kids, she doesn't really like to write. And she goes, okay, where's your computer? And I didn't even know she could really type. I know it's bad, Mom, but I've seen her on there. But I'm like, you're going to type a blog? Shouldn't you write it? Because you don't type that fast. She took my computer, went on the couch. 10 minutes later, she came back to me with the blog. And she goes, here's the blog. And what I told her is write a blog, because I do one, a couple times a week. And I want this for the women in our movement. And she wrote it, and I wish I had it to read to you. So there's your incentive. Go to my Facebook page. It was on there yesterday. It's also on gygb.com. And her blog blew my mind. She was like, all you moms out there, she's like, you need to stop being what other people tell you should be and be who you want to be. She's like, you need to follow your dream no matter how outrageous, no matter how crazy, you follow it. And I was like, what? I'm like, oh my gosh, your kids actually listen to us, you guys. She was actually listening. But let me tell you, when I just read that, it made me think of her blog yesterday, because you know what? If you live your outrageous dreams, your children are going to live their outrageous dreams, because they will follow your example. If you live in fear, but you tell them, take risk, honey, be brave, they'll be like, what about you? They know what you're doing. So you have to take risks. You have to put it all on the line sometimes. You have to be courageous. And women, there's this whole thing out there on mindfulness, which I'm so excited, because Get Your Girl Back, I've been writing for 10 years, is more than about mindfulness. I mean, it's about saving your life, and I don't have a fancy term for it other than there's a little girl in there who used to love to play and jump in mud puddles and look at the clouds and catch rain on our tongue, and none of us do that anymore because we're so serious all the time. We're uptight. Anti-anxiety meds are like flying off the shelves. That is no way to live. And let me tell you, if that's how you're living, that is probably how your daughter's going to live. That's how your son's going to live, because they emulate us and get mad at me if you want. But while my mom had a really rough life, and I mean, is just, tough, really tough. And it wasn't by choice because we don't all plan our lives, right? She would sit there and she'd be laying in a bed and she'd be like, don't be like me, be different, go after your dream, do what you want. You can do anything. She told me later she didn't really always believe it, but she wanted me to believe it. She sold me a bunch of crap, but I believed it. And it didn't work for her because she didn't really believe it. She brainwashed me. And I want to brainwash you because we are a product of our thoughts. If you think your dream's too big to achieve, guess what? It is. It is. Sometimes I have so much doubt about Get Your Girl Back because I don't believe it's even something I came up with. I believe I was given this as my life's mission. So I think it's going to be freaking huge, right? Because I did not want to do this. I was the servant who came forth not willingly. I fought it for 10 years. Even my daughter's like, Mommy, what is up? Like, when are you going to get your book out there? And I'm like, I know. That's why I finally just said, I've released it, right? And I don't know how it's going to be big. I have no idea. And I'm tired of trying to figure it out. I'm just going to let it go. And if it's supposed to be big, it will. And I definitely put the work behind it. I'm not waiting on a miracle. And you know what? It'll be what it's supposed to be. And you have to have that kind of trust, but never say, well, it could never be that big because I'm not that smart, or I don't know. No one knows who I am, right? You can't think like that. You have to think big, big, big. And this third one, don't worry about how you'll do it. This is the thing for me. My brothers always said, you are so naive to failure. And it's true. I would just go. If I fell, I'd get back up, go. Because I figured, don't you have to fail to learn? Isn't that how we learn? If life was perfect, we wouldn't be anywhere. We'd be comfy, sitting in hot tubs, eating berries with chocolate on them and not worrying about anything. It's our shortcomings and our failures that make us amazing. So I want to remind you that when you set your goal around your priorities, so when I decided I was going to cut my hours by massive amounts and move my office back home and grow my company, I had no idea how I was really going to do that. But I thought, you know what, this is my goal. Here's my action steps. I had 5 goals with 3 action steps each. I've done this whole method of goal setting for 20 years. It's worked every year of my life, so there's your proof, and I know a lot of you do the same thing. And I didn't really worry about how. I didn't go, well, how am I going to do that on half the hours? I said, I just got to find a way. I hired coaches, I hired trainers and people that work with me, taught me better my time management systems. I learned how to probably work 50% better. I hired better virtual assistants back then and staff. I delegate everything I can. And then, most importantly is I made the decision I wanted to change my life. And that's what you have to decide. Do you really want to grow your business or just have a business? It's kind of cool to have a business, but it's even better to grow a business. And most of you are in this room because you know you can do it. And then that little doubt creeps in, right? You can do it, so just knock that doubt out and start focusing, and every time it comes in, go back to what you can do. And the other thing I want you to think about is putting yourself out of a job. So you can't do it all. I love that I gave up my housekeeping job. I have a housekeeper twice a week. It's the best thing I ever did in my whole life. I will give up any pair of shoes, shopping, purses, anything. Tuesdays, Mondays and Thursdays are my favorite days of the week. And I don't feel guilty about it. For a long time, I felt like they looked at me like I was a horrible mom, horrible wife, because I don't do my own laundry anymore, and I don't clean my own house. But you know what? I'm jumping on the trampoline. I'm playing with my kids. We're going for walks. We're going to the park. I really don't care, and I don't owe her any explanation. She's got a job because of me. That's how we need to think, right? So I put myself out of a job. Don't worry, it took me a long time to get there. My husband actually had to add the second day because I was like, I can't do it. Now I love it. Now my goal is 3 days. But in your business, I also put myself in a job. Well, everybody told me that I couldn't hire speakers to speak like me. I have 5 speakers now. Yeah, 5 speakers now that go speak all over the country for me. I only get on an airplane twice a month because that's my limit. Now this month and next month, we actually lost one. I have to go out a little bit more, but I've actually turned a lot of stuff down because, and my CEO, it drives him crazy. He's like, you're going to say no? This is good money. I'm like, no, I'm not going. I'm not a slave to this business. It's my business. I want to be home with my family. 2 days really means 4 days on the road. 2 days is my max, and maybe 3, but my typical's 2. You have to deal. So what do? It's not that I don't want more revenue in my business, so I trained other speakers. And the cool thing is, when I trained other speakers, they love it. They're living their dream. They're getting put on stage. They're getting paid really good to do it. People are respecting them. They're getting better every day. And that's been the greatest joy for me, to sit in an audience and watch these girls become these polished diamonds, speaking and sharing my messages. We can reach 5 times the people. I mean, think about what you could do if you did that in your business. How many more customers could you have if there was another one of you? What other things could you get done if you could delegate the stuff that's kind of like monotonous but needs done every day but doesn't take a ton of intelligence to do, but there's things we have to do in our business that are just have to be done? You should be doing the brain work, the strategy, the vision, and the sales. Nobody can sell what you have like you because it's your business, you're passionate. But most people in business hate to sell because they're terrified of it. And that's a whole nother thing for next year. But I'll tell you, if you don't sell, you're not going to have a viable business. And that, in the beginning, when you're growing a business, I've sold my business myself for 20 years. To this day, I still sell a majority of our business. I do have a new CEO now. It's amazing. I feel after 20 years, finally someone's outselling me because I'm not selling that much anymore. But I don't want you to ever believe that for a minute, and I used to believe this, maybe like next year I'll finally get to stop selling. It's exhausting. Filling the pipeline, making the calls, seeing the people. But you know what I realized? I finally went, no, if I want to grow this business, if I want to double, I need to sell. And it doesn't mean you have to sell 10 hours a day. It might be an hour every day, working smart, not hard, building relationships, finding people's needs, building value, closing the sales. You have to do that. If you don't know how, the great news is there's coaches, there's books, there's seminars, there's schools. You can become an amazing salesperson. So I just want to, can you hit that again? And again? Well, I don't know what that said, but it's okay. I know I'm wrapping up. Oh, yes, and that's good. I was already on track there. So ask yourself, what is the number one time sucker for you in your day? What is it? For me, it was I was coaching and I don't do this anymore, but when I was coaching from 8 a.m. to like 6 p.m. I would speak so long on the phone that I would be dizzy and I'd see black spots because I wouldn't eat or drink because I was so busy with clients. So the first thing I did, which against all odds, was I hired a girl and I trained her to become a coach. She was someone who used my sales systems very successfully, and within 2 months, she had my entire coaching roster, and I was able to build a whole nother one. Then I hired a second coach, and a third coach, and a fourth coach, until we had like 10 coaches. And what I realized was, well, Lord, they're better than me. You don't even need me anymore because they became so good. I was able to lead them, train them, teach them. I became their leader. They became the people working with the clients, and our business just went crazy. Then I put 1 on stage, and then I put 2 on stage. Now we have like 5 on stage. And so what I'm telling you is, if you talk to any speaker, they'll tell you, most speakers don't do that because they'll say, no one's going to get your message. So think about your business. You might think, well, no one could do what I do. People are going to buy from her. They're going to buy from me because they love me. It's my product. It's my face. It's my brand. That's not true. That's your ego talking. So what you have to realize, they will never do it like you, anybody you hire. My staff does not do it like me. But you know what? Some of them actually do it better than me because I've allowed them to grow their wings and fly. I've stepped up as the leader in my company over the last 5-7 years and trained them to be better than me. It was my goal to put myself out of a job. And to get out of a job, and that's the motto of our company, put yourself out of a job, when you can train someone to be 10 times better than you, meaning you go on vacation, we don't miss a beat, that means you're ready for a promotion and so are they. And it became the culture of our company. Everybody was on upward mobility, and more importantly, they were so dedicated to training the people behind them and making them superstars that everybody won. So think about if you could hire one person in your company to delegate to, set yourself free, what would it be? And also realize in business, it's not about punching a time clock. Some of you punish yourself. I have to work 40 hours a week. If I don't, I'm not going to be successful. That's a lie. It's not true. It's about having goals, defining specific activities, being committed and dedicated to the mission and the dream and the passion of what you're doing, believing for it. You don't even have to know how to do it, but believing that there are bigger plans for you, far bigger than anything you could ever imagine for yourself. I remember I went to a Tony Robbins seminars, and everybody went to one of those. This is probably that kind of group, right? And I had bought his CD set when I was in college at Ohio State, and like I worked at Dairy Queen, and I had like $300 in my bank account, and I remember I took $250 of it and sent it to Tony Robbins for his, what are the CDs called? Personal Power. That was it. And I guess that's where I started. And then I came up to New Jersey about 2 years ago, was in a total different place in my life, and I remember thinking, oh, my life's come full circle. There he is, on stage. You know, you can't miss Tony Robbins. I mean, 6'5", like spitting everywhere, amazing human being. He's unbelievable. No, that's his destiny. Talk about not missing his destiny. But I knew what was coming, and I was freaking out scared. It was the first day. We'd sat there from 8 a.m. It was midnight. We hadn't eaten. We'd barely gone to the bathroom. I was exhausted, but I was like, oh, my gosh, we got to get out of here. I need to get a cab. Because what was he going to try to get us to do? Does anybody know? Walk on that dog on fire. I was like, oh, my gosh, I am not walking on fire. And I knew before I went there was no way I was walking on fire. That is crazy. It's 2,500 degrees. And the problem was I had an employee with me. And we had made this big decision that we weren't going to walk on fire because it was crazy. And we both had kids. We're like, what if we get hurt? What if we fall in the fire? How are we going to run a business? How are we going to take care of our children? So our pact was right before the fire walk, we were getting out of there. So at midnight, I thought about this all day. I was seriously really stressed because in my mind I was thinking, oh my God, I have to walk on the fire. Because if I don't walk on the fire, she's not going to walk on the fire. And she's going to see me as a failure. And she's going to see me as a chicken. What do I do? So can you imagine the conflict going on in my brain? Do the right thing or just be a chicken and go home? I wanted to go home. So I was like, okay, we're not going. Whew. And then Tony said, all right, stand up. So we stood up. I was like, what's going on? He said, roll up your pants. So I was like, well, I'll just roll through the motions. So I rolled up my pants. And then he was like, kick off your shoes. And I kicked off my shoes. And I was like, no. And then I looked over at the person with me. And I was like, oh my God, she's doing the same thing I'm doing. She rolled up her pants, she kicked off her shoes, and I was like, we are not going out there. I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. And he said, out to the parking garages. And like the dumb people with us, we started marching to the parking garages. And I remember thinking I was going to pass out. This, honestly, you know, childbirth, all that stuff was nothing. This was the scariest thing in my entire life. I don't know why, but I was petrified. So I went out there, and I couldn't see anything. All I heard was this drum roll, boom, 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 like I was going to the slaughter, and I could see this fire on the ceiling, but I couldn't see the fire, so I was looking around like, where's the fire? And I heard people cheering and chanting, and there was a tall guy with us who was holding our hands and really scared, and I was like, are you doing it? He's like, no. So we got up there, and all of a sudden, the fire was right there, and all I know is barefoot, my pants are rolled up, and I looked, and two people grabbed my arms, and I freaking ran across the fire. I thought I was going to die. Like, when I ran across the fire, I collapsed and started crying because it was the bravest thing I'd ever done in my life. I don't even know how I got across the fire, but I just did it, right? So here's the thing. If I would not have done it, Julie would not have done it. And you can tell me she wouldn't have thought differently than me, but she would have, because they called me their fearless leader. That's my name in our company, the fearless leader. Do you really think I would have been known as the fearless leader anymore? I would have lost my creed, man. There was no way. So I walked across. I kept my label of the fearless leader, and from that day forward, they've continued to follow me and do anything I ask. And I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to walk across hot coals for your business, for your team? Are you willing to do what it takes to demonstrate for your children that being a woman in the 21st century is an amazing privilege? We can do anything we want. We just have to define our all, and we have to set our boundaries, and we have to decide how we're going to do our all, and we're going to go do it. Because if not, we're going to fall in those hot coals, and we're going to get up, we're going to be bruised, and we're going to be messed up. So I just want you to think about the next time you got a decision to make, and it's a tough one, are you going to walk across that fire for your dream? So I want to thank you guys. Thank you, Patty, for having me here.